Hi pals, welcome back to the channel. Today we have part 2 of our how to crochet / back to basics crochet tutorial. If you missed the first video, I posted it last month, and that one has how to do a slip knot, how to chain, how to check your tension, how to hold your yarn. It has a whole bunch of information on it. So if you haven't seen that one, I recommend going back and watching it. And then today I'm going to show you how to make a half double crochet, how to make a double crochet, talk about our turning chains a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how to do both of the, or all of that in flat work and in the round. The first video I show you how to make a magic circle. We'll go over that kind of a little bit again when I make one. But for the most part, we're not going to do a refresh. You got that video, and now we're going to do the next part. And also, yes, I know my nails are looking pretty rough right now. I ran out of stuff to get the gel off, and this is all I have left, so I can't get it off. So yes, I know my nails are bad, but we're just gonna, and I burned my hand on the oven making pizza, so we're just gonna pretend that that isn't a thing and continue on with the video. But I knew if I didn't call it out, somebody was going to tell me in the comments that my hands looked rough. I understand. It's okay. Same stuff can be recorded if your hands aren't beautiful. Mine are fine. We'll be okay. Okay, and then first I want to show you the hook and the yarn, and then we'll get into the stitches. This hook is actually kind of cool. Well, it is really cool. It's not kind of cool. It's really cool. It's kind of a little bit of a two-part is what I was gonna say, because right now it's black and sparkly and it's glossy and I love it so much, but as I use it, it's gonna change colors. It's Whitney Marie. I have all of her links below. Makes these like mood ring hooks, and she has a ton of different kinds of them. This is my favorite one. It turns rainbow underneath. Kind of looks like a galaxy as it fades out. So as I use it, I'll show you as it progresses. And then this yarn, it's just Red Heart Super Saver in retro stripes. I use it for most of my tutorials just because it's easy to see, and it's a worsted weight yarn. I love it for all of my it's what I kind of make swatches of when I'm trying to practice new stitches, or new combinations of stitches, or just ideas I have. I'll use this yarn. Just because it shows the stitches really well. And then this is the Red Heart Speckle. I just used my knitting machine to make a bunch of yarn socks. But yeah, that is the yarn and the hooks. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the turning chain. So you use a turning chain at the end of a row to kind of go up a little bit, so that way you can start working the next row. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to chain 1, and you can chain 1 or 2 for a half, I mean, you can chain as many as you want, but 1 or 2 seems to work best for half double crochets, and then chaining 3 or 4 works really well for double crochets. I chain 1 for half double crochets, and then by turn your work, so we have it this way, you got to the end and made your turning chain, and then you just flip your work over. And now we're going to work from this side back across. So this would be the wrong side of your work, and this would be the right side of your work. So to do a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over your hook, and then you're going to insert your hook into the stitch. So just like you do a single crochet, you're going to go through both of the bars on the V, and you're going to pull up a loop. So then you'll have 3 loops on your hook. And then you're just going to yarn over one more time and then pull through all 3 loops. And that is a half double crochet. So you yarn over into the stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We'll do it a couple more times nice and slow. And that is what they look like. They're a little bit taller than a single crochet, but not quite as tall as a double crochet. If I'm being honest, the half double crochet is probably my favorite stitch. It creates a really good texture. You can make clothing with it. blankets. I really like it. It's not super airy, but it's got just enough that you don't get super hot in the clothes. And it's super versatile. You can use it, I think I've said super about 12 times, I'm so sorry. You can use it in combination with like single crochets or double crochets. You can use it for post stitches. You can use it for a lot of different creative ways other than just a simple half double crochet, but I love it in general as is. So that is the row of half double crochets. So we're just going to chain 1 or 2, turn our work, and we'll make another row. So yarn over, and here's the reason why I do a chain 1. So the reason is because I don't count the first stitch in my row as a stitch. I ignore it. So that chain 1 does not count for me in 99% of the things that I design. I yarn over and I go right into the first stitch to make that first half double crochet, and that is my first stitch. So I don't count the turning chain. I prefer to just have the first stitch be the first stitch. The only time that I will allow the chain to be a turning chain is when I'm making like treble crochets, which we're not going to get into, but they're very tall. They're really tall chains is what they look like almost. So I allow that, or I count that first chain stitch as a stitch. But for anything smaller than that, I don't. I think it looks fine. It's just a personal preference though. So whatever you want or you like the look of works for you, perfect with me. So yeah, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. Yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 3. All right, so we've got to the end of the row. We got both rows of half double crochets done. So now I'm going to show you how to do the double crochet. So it's very similar. Once you get to the end of your row, you're going to do a chain 2 or a chain 3, turn your work, and we'll start on this side. So it's the same start as a half double crochet. You're going to yarn over first, go into the stitch, and pull up a loop so you have 3 stitches or 3 loops on your hook, just like a half double crochet. Now what makes it a double crochet is you yarn over, and instead of pulling through all 3, you're just gonna pull through 2 loops, which leaves 2 loops left. And then you yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. I dropped my stitch, but that's okay, I fixed it. So you yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is what a double crochet looks like. So you can see how small the single crochets are down here, and then these are the half double crochets, and then the double crochet. so we got to the end of our row. We're just going to chain 2, turn our work, and we'll do 1 more row of double crochet. And then here's an update on the hook. You can see it starting to change colors. My hands are still kind of cold, so it might take a little longer, but you can see it starting to change colors. And I love it. I think it's so neat. So you yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Alright, so we've got the 2 rows of double crochets done, and then I'll show you how, I don't know if I showed in the first video, but I'll show you here. This is how I finish off once I get to the end. So you'll see that on patterns, they'll say finish off and weave in ends. So for me, I yarn over and I just pull through that stitch and I pull out like 6 to 8 inches of yarn. And then I just cut it, and that's how I finish off my row. There's a bunch of ways you can do, like invisible finishes, you can do invisible joins, you can do a bunch of different things, but that's how I finish off my projects. So that is, like I said, single crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets at the top. And then let's make a circle real quick, and I'll show you, the stitches are the exact same, but I'll show you how they look and the turning chains on those, because they're similar, but they provide a different look. So I wanted to show you what I do with that. Okay, so for a circle, like I said, it's the exact same stitches. You don't really do anything different. But I still wanted to show you just because I know for some people it's a lot easier to see it. Even though it looks the same, it's going to be a little bit different when you're making it in the round. So what I do is I make my magic circle and I chain, chain 2, not 3. And then for my half double crochets, like I said, it's the same. You're just going around the circle instead of going into a chain stitch. Also, there's a little rainbow on my desk. I don't know where it's coming from, but here it is. So we're just gonna make a bunch of these real quick so I can make the circle. Alright, so we've got 10 half double crochets, and then we just tighten it up and we slip stitch them together. So we just go into that first stitch, yarn over, and just pull through both of them. Now this is what I'm talking about with the turning chain for a circle. It's not really turning, you're just going up. So I'll do double crochets next. So you go up 1 or 2 for a half double crochet and 2 or 3 for a double crochet, and then I count my turning chain here as a stitch. So for a double crochet I go 3, so that way this top chain is my stitch that I'm gonna crochet into, And then I'll yarn over, and instead of going into this first stitch that I joined, we're gonna go into the second stitch. And I'm gonna put 2, because we're going to increase so that way our circle stays flat. Just for this experiment, or this demo, I guess. So we have 1, 2, 3 in 2 stitches. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3 in 2 stitches. And we'll do that all the way around. Okay, so we got back to the beginning, and then we're gonna go into the top chain. And then you have this like turning chain right there in the middle. And so it almost adds like an extra stitch. Even though it doesn't, like you don't count it, it looks like another stitch. So it's hard to like, and then it kind of like stands out as it goes up. So you'll always see, it's like when you make a granny square and you don't work in continuous rounds, you worked in joined rounds. It's the same concept. You'll be able to see it. Hold on, let me grab one really quick and I'll show you an example. But yeah, this is a granny square that's worked in joined rounds. So even with the joined rounds, you can still see this. I'm counting this stitch as a stitch, but it's the chain 3, so you can still see it in the line. And imagine this was an extra stitch. Then you would have its own line up the middle as well as the 3 granny stitches. It just doesn't look as clean, but it is a personal preference. If I'm in a rush and I'm not thinking about it, I'll probably not count it as a stitch and I'll end up with that extra stitch. But like I said, it just depends on what you're making and what your personal preference is. None of this is right or wrong when it comes to crochet. There aren't any like hard and fast rules. Whatever works for you, use that. But yeah, that's how you do the half double crochet and the double crochet flat and in the round. If you have any questions, just let me know. This was just going to be the second and I guess last part of the Back to Basics crochet series thing that I was doing. I just wanted to make sure that I had it all covered for you. But the first video was like 30 minutes long and I assumed this needed to be in its own part. Yeah, so, oh, and this is what the crochet hook looks like now. It's so pretty. I absolutely love it. But yeah, so if you want to buy one of these, website's linked below. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!